In fact, the current administration hasn't made any substantial leeway towards increasing investor confidence in the country. In fact, they've actually done quite the opposite.
In the last year, South Africa has recorded a series of trade surpluses. In fact, in July, the country recorded a trade surplus of nearly 37 billion rand. Here to unpack this is fellow CRA analyst Bheki Mahlobo. Bheki, welcome. And could you please tell us what has led to the trade surplus in July, and how is this impacting our currency, the rand?
Kari, what has led to the trade surplus is the commodity rally that we have witnessed over the past year. South Africa's exports are predominantly made up of commodities. So whenever we see a commodity rally, that leads to an improvement in the trade balance, the trade surplus, as you've mentioned, which leads to an appreciation in the rand. These are such examples such as that of gold and platinum. And what we have seen is that because of this commodity rally, we've seen an increase in mining activity in the country. In fact, one of the main reasons that has led to an increase in business confidence indicator, by this I'm referring to the South African Chamber of Commerce Index, which recovered from its low base of last year, but still well below its peak in 2004, 2005, when the country was growing at GDP levels of 3 to 5%. Not all commodity indicators have increased. An example of this is that when you look at the iron ore price, which is essentially almost halved from its peak this year, that's largely due to China's clamping on steel producing companies in order to limit its carbon emissions. Not all increases in commodity prices are good for the countries, particularly for the commodities that we import, such as that of fuel, which has increased by 20% since the 20th of August this year. Unfortunately, this negatively impacts the transportation of food, which leads to an increase in the prices of consumer goods, which unfortunately negatively impacts poor households in terms of, firstly, the goods that they buy from grocery stores, as well as that of transportation, of public transportation.
Enjoying this analysis? Click here to sign up for our 30-day free trial for more content from the CIA.
And Bheki, you've mentioned earlier that the commodity boom is largely contributing to the strengthening of the rand that we've seen in the last few months. Now, are there other factors in play in boosting the rand?
Yes, Kari, there are other factors at play. One of that is South Africa's high government bond yields when you compare it to much of the developed world, like the United States and other countries in Europe. This has led to foreign investors buying South African bonds, which are denominated in rands, which then leads to the rand appreciating. It's good news for the government because it means that the budget deficit, which now currently is about negative 14% as a proportion of GDP, is continuing to finance. However, it's negative for the ordinary South African because it means that debt servicing costs has now increased because the country is now more of a higher risk profile. This means that the government has less to spend on such things as education, as well as that of healthcare.
So Bheki, you've mentioned two major factors that have led to the strengthening in the rand. The first one is the commodity boom, and the second one is the high yield that South Africa offers to investors. Now, what is your outlook for the rand in the medium term?
Unfortunately, Harry, the medium-term outlook for the currency is that of devaluation. The two factors that we've just discussed are largely due to outside forces. As much as it is a good thing that South Africa is recording a trade surplus in terms of government revenue, as they have more revenue than initially expected, as well as that of the South African high yields in the short term, as the South African budget deficit continues to get financed in the short term. The long-term outlook of high yields is that you have an increase in debt and an increase in debt servicing costs, as we have just briefly discussed, which means that you have less money to spend on other items like I've just mentioned earlier. And these two factors by no way signal any strong sentiment by investors of the confidence of the country. In fact, the current administration hasn't made any substantial leeway towards increasing investor confidence in the country. In fact, they've actually done quite the opposite. So the medium-term outlook for the rand is that of devaluation.
Thank you so much, Bheki, for unpacking this for us. If you enjoyed today's analysis, please give this video a like and click on the link in the description below to gain access to our 30-day free trial. Till next time, goodbye.